We are live on YouTube, Chair.
Thank you very much. Before we start, could I just say to the people who wish to come in, we need to see you, please. Mike Randall.
Yeah, we just.
Thank you.
Watch.
Thank you. Harry Barnes, thank you.
Sorry to interject, Chair. Tim, Martin, we've got someone called Tim Vaughan in the waiting room. Are we expecting somebody by that name?
Tim is a colleague of Mr. Bodkin.
Shall I let him into the meeting then?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm afraid we do have a gentleman in the middle that says connecting to audio, but no name or anything on him. I don't know who that is.
Can't see that.
That's Tom Bodkin, Chair.
Who's now disappeared.
Oh, video.
I still don't know exactly who he is. I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself? We can see Mike Randall, we can see Harry Barnes, Pam, Tim Vaughan, and Tom Bodkin. Right, thank you very much. I think, is that everybody in now? Ed, is that Maisie? Is that everybody in now?
It is, Chair, yes.
Maisie? Everybody in?
Yes, Chair, and we're streaming on YouTube.
And we're started, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I think the first thing we ought to do is introduce ourselves so that we know exactly who we are and what we're here for. My name is Penny Flavel. I'm chairman of the licensing committee. So Tony, let's start with you because you're on my screen.
Thank you. I'm Councillor Tony Ansell, the deputy chairman of the licensing committee.
Julie?
Councillor Julie Davenport, member of the licensing committee.
Thank you. Martin, we know. James?
Martin O'Connell, yeah, licensing officer.
Thank you.
James Chadwick, solicitor, advisor to the licensing committee.
Thank you. Pam? Pam's iPad.
Hello there. I'm Pam Williams. I represent local residents who live very close to Jimmy's Sports Bar.
Thank you. Mr. Randall?
I'm Mike Randall, the Roundtech Consulting. I'm the noise consultant acting on behalf of...
Sorry, Mr. Randall, but that was very blurred. Are you sitting too close to the microphone?
Further back, there we go.
Well, I don't know. Try again.
I'm Mike Randall of Roundtech Consulting. I represent Harry Barnes in this matter on noise design.
Could I just ask Martin and James, could you hear Mr. Randall?
I can hear it well enough to understand what he's saying. Yeah, it's a little bit muffled though.
Well, Mr. Randall, if you wish to speak any further in the meeting, I think somehow you'll have to make it clearer because I couldn't understand it properly. I'll go round while you're considering what to do. Mr. Bodkin, who are you?
I'm Tom Bodkin. I'm solicitor on behalf of the applicant along with my colleague Tim Vaughan.
Mr. Bodkin, I'm so sorry again. I don't know about the others, but I found that rather muffled, notwithstanding the noise outside.
No, they're in the same room. I can see Mr. Bodkin and another person are in the same room, so I think there's some feedback from that.
Right. Well, if you wish to speak, you really are going to have to make it much clearer so that we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. A bit of an echo, but that's better. Sure. Mr. Barnes. Mr. Barnes.
Hi, I'm Harry Barnes. I'm the owner of Jimmy's Sports Bar.
Thank you. And Mr. Vaughan?
Yes, good morning. My name is Tim Vaughan. I am the solicitor for Harry Barnes, the applicant in this case, and I intend to present the matter this morning. Could I make it clear that Mr. Mike Randall, in case you didn't hear very clearly, and I confess I had a muffled hearing as well, he is the noise or sound expert and represents a firm called Roundtech Consulting.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the committee will have seen 2 reports from him, which I'll deal with in due course.
Yes, thank you very much. I believe we have. I believe we have. Right. Do we have any declarations of interest from the committee, please? Any? Julie,
No.
any declarations of interest from you? No.
No.
Fine. Thank you very much. So we start off with the variation of the premises license application for Jimmy's Sports Bar. Martin, this is your report, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, Chair.
Right. Would you like to start then, please?
Okay, so the purpose of this report, as you said, is to consider the application for a variation of the premises licence for PL 0419, which is for Jimmy's Sports Bar at 6 to 10 Hofston Road, Northampton. An application for the variation was submitted on behalf of the licence holder, Sandra Andrews, by her son and business partner, Harry Barnes. Clarification was sought by the licensing department that Sandra Andrews had full knowledge of this application and agreed with it. The application was received by Northampton Borough Council as was on the 5th of March 2001. The application was submitted with the intention to vary the premises licence by licensing for the sale of alcohol for consumption on the premises, the roof terrace area. No variation to existing inside area or to licensing permissions was applied for. The current licensable indoor activities and times permitted for PL 0419 are as follows. Live music on a Monday to Thursday between 11 and 2300 hours. Friday between 11 and midnight. Saturday between 10 and midnight. Sunday between 10 and 22:30 hours. For recording music, Monday to Thursday, 11 until 2300 hours. Friday, 11 until 0100 hours. Saturday, 10 till 0100 hours. And Sunday, 10 till 22:30 hours. And the sale of alcohol by retail for consumption on and off the premises, Monday to Thursday, 11 till 2300 hours. Friday, 11 till 01 hours. And Saturday 10 till 01 hours and Sunday 10 till 22:30 hours. The variation proposal is to license as follows the roof terrace area in addition to those inside areas, with the hours being from Monday to Thursday 11 till 2300 hours, 11 till 01 hours, on Friday, Saturday 10 till 01 hours, and Sunday 10 till 22:30 hours. So exactly mirroring the alcohol sales inside. It is pertinent to mention at this stage, due to the nature of objections received, i.e. under the Prevention of Public Nuisance, that by licensing the roof terrace bar for the sale of alcohol, some deregulation of the Licensing Act 2003 would allow for live and recorded music to be played on the roof terrace during any times the bar was open for the sale of alcohol. However, this deregulation is restricted to between the hours of 800 hours and 2300 hours for an audience of less than 500. This is clearly relevant to the licensing objective of the Prevention of Public Nuisance, which all the objections received relate to. Although they haven't made formal representation, Environmental Health have tried to mitigate this by seeking agreement with the applicant not to play music on the roof terrace and have his agreement to the following conditions being applied to the varied premises licence if granted. 1, that the roof terrace can only be used exclusively for the consumption of alcohol and smoking. 2, no regulated entertainment, e.g. the playing of live, amplified or recorded music is permitted on the roof terrace at any time. No loudspeakers are permitted to be used or located outside on the roof terrace. Notices shall be prominently displayed at any area used for smoking, requesting patrons to respect the needs of local residents and use the area quietly. And a direct telephone number for the manager or designated premises supervisor at the premises shall be publicly available at all times to the premises open. The pub is open. Sorry, this telephone number is to be made available to residents and businesses in the vicinity. These proposed conditions would be something for the subcommittee to consider, but to do so in conjunction with legal advice, particularly the first 3 conditions which relate to the playing of music, and in which case would be deregulated between the hours of 800 hours and 2300 hours. For guidance, I'm referring to section 177A2 of the Licensing Act 2003, and I've given you a snippet of what that says there in the report. When a request for a full variation of the premises licence or club premises certificate is received, the applicant must display a notice at or near the premises and serve a copy of the application onto the responsible authorities. For electronic applications, it is required for the local authority to serve a copy of the application onto those responsible authorities, which we did. This gives responsible authorities and interested parties the opportunity to make representations in relation to the application for a period of 28 calendar days. The last date for making representations was the 3rd of April 2021. The obligatory notice was displayed on the premises as verified by licensing officers, and it was displayed in the local newspaper. The licensing department has received relevant representations from several members of the public, 6 in all, on the grounds of the prevention of public nuisance. These objections can be seen at Appendix D, which is on page 43 to 45 of your papers. The papers you've got there have redacted any personal information from those objections. The Northamptonshire Police have considered the application but have made no representation. However, they did confirm with the applicant that all conditions that currently apply to the licensed premises would apply to the roof terrace bar if it is licensed through this variation. So in other words, any conditions on the current premises license would also apply to the roof terrace if granted. It is also relevant to mention that West Northampton Planning Department are currently dealing with planning applications relating to the roof terrace at Jimmy's Sports Bar, as the structure and its time and terms of use are not yet formally agreed under planning regulation. The planning department have not, however, made formal representation to the licensing application. The local authority is required to send a notice of the hearing to all interested parties and request confirmation of attendance. A notice of the hearing was sent to the following persons: Harry Barnes and his solicitor Tim Vaughan. It was also sent to all 6 public objectors, of which 1, Pamela Williams, has responded and is here today at the hearing. There is a plan shown of the premises, which is at Appendix C, page 42 of your report, which is, say, a plan of the roof terrace. If representations are received, then we have to have this hearing, and you must consider now the application on the following grounds: the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. And the steps that the subcommittee can take are to grant the application in full, to reject the whole application, to reject part of the application, or to modify the conditions of the licence, excluding the mandatory conditions, by altering them, omitting them, or adding new conditions. And policy considerations to do it whilst doing this are the statement of licensing policy and the guidance under section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, particularly section 9, which gives guidance for the determination of this application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Martin. If we have any questions, I will ask the committee in a little while. Possibly now, James, I think it would be time for Mr. Vaughan to put his client forward. Is that correct?
It sounds sensible for the applicant to go first, so to speak. Yeah.
Yes, I thought so. Mr. Vaughan, you've heard what Martin has had to say. Could we have you speaking now, please, on behalf of your client?
Yes, of course, Madam Chair. Can I just engage in a small amount of housekeeping at the moment? Can I just ensure that you have what I have? Insofar as Mr. Randall's reports are concerned, there is an original, an earlier one, the 6th of March 2021, and that's been followed by a very recent one, the 28th of April. Could I just confirm that the committee has both of those?
Mr. Vaughan, as far as I'm concerned, I've had anything that came through.
Yes.
I believe Mr. Randall or somebody sent some fresh ones through. Was it yesterday? Mr. Randall, did you send some fresh ones through yesterday?
I think my firm did that, Madam Chair.
Right. I have those, and some of which are in colour.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes, yes, thank you.
I don't know if the rest, I don't know whether the rest of the committee have them. Tony, have you got the new ones?
Yes.
And Julie, have you got the new ones?
I've only got black and white.
Yes, but when did you get those? Have you had the latest ones?
No, I'll go and check, see if anything's come through today. Shall I?
Well,
They were emailed to you yesterday, Councillor Davenport.
yes, they were sent yesterday.
Oh, you emailed?
Yes, correct.
Oh, right, okay, I'll check.
There are various photographs. It is black and white photograph, and there are plans, various plans that have come through. I don't think mine have actually got a date on them, but I do know that they are the latest ones because I printed them off myself.
Yeah, Chair, there were some photographs that unfortunately I was only able to send across this morning to Democratic Services. They were sent to me sort of yesterday afternoon, but I was only able to see them this morning.
Yes, well, some of them are in black and white, Julie, so don't worry, excuse me, if that's all you have. I also have some in colour, but they are to show the barriers. Is that what you have? Do you have that?
Got barriers, yes. I've got, yeah.
Screen levels. Have you got photographs of the screen levels?
Yes.
Fine. So basically, you've also got the plans that show arrows relating to the noise. Is that correct? Have you got those?
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Right. Mr. Vaughan, it does appear as though we have everything.
I'm grateful. The colour photos, I anticipate, are the ones that would have been sent over this morning. In many ways, they might have been attached to Mr. Randall's second report because he refers to the barriers going up, but there weren't any photos. So that's the intention, is to actually show what he's talking about. They're very recently taken yesterday afternoon. I have them in colour, you may have them in black and white, but I think they're representationally that they're fairly clear. I hope they're clear anyway. Could I start by indicating how I intend to do this? I don't intend to call formally Harry Barnes or Mike Randall, but they are here. If I can just outline, and I hope to be brief in this, outline the case, then I'm more than willing for them to speak for themselves, to answer questions, as it were, if this was a pseudo court environment, to tender them for questioning, simply as that. I hope that's helpful and I hope it's convenient. So, ma'am, what is at stake here is a variation simply to bring into the premises the top roof terrace. You can see from the photographs that considerable investment has been made, and I'm not sure whether any members of the committee have personally inspected, but it's been at an expense. It's an attractive, if I may say so, and relaxing environment, and new for St James. And I may add that possibly unique to Northampton, it sits on top of what is popularly known as a sports bar, and it's an advantage, we say, for the community to look at in St James, and in accordance, we would say, with your licensing policy to that effect. It's an advantage. Now, we do accept that of the licensing objectives, one, possibly two of those are engaged. Could I deal with public safety and children first? I'm hoping it's uncontroversial to say that neither of those is engaged today. I'll be corrected if I'm wrong about that, but I don't understand from the papers that I've seen that they are. So as far as that which is most pertinent, public nuisance, a licensing objective, we obviously accept that that's engaged because we've seen the objections. And that is why we've gone to the extent, or Mr. Barnes has gone to the extent of obtaining a report from a noise expert, which is technical in nature, but I hope readily understandable in conclusion. And I'm bound to say at this point that in relation to paragraph 3.3 of the licensing officer's report, we have, I'm sorry to say, we have an issue in that where it is stated that environmental health have an agreement from my client, which might have raised eyebrows when that was being read out. I'm instructed that that is not the case. It is the case that environmental health have made a number of visits and discussed the matter of the rooftop music, if we call it the noise issue, with my client during the course of this application. But it is not the case, I am firmly instructed, that he has agreed that there should be no regulated entertainment. You might think that that would have been odd sitting in the background of these two noise reports and his applications generally.
So, Mr. Vaughan, sorry to interrupt you, but you are now telling us that paragraph 3.3, the third paragraph down, is totally incorrect.
Well, can I put it like this? I have seen nothing, and I've inquired into the background of this matter, including the planning application, which is currently going through. I've seen nothing in writing which indicates that there's been any such agreement, and I'm
well, let me ask my question again. Are you telling us that this is not correct?
I'm telling you, yeah, it is not correct that there has been any agreement to the effect set out in 3.3.
Thank you. Thank you.
I need to be very clear with my client about that, and I was so this morning, and I understood from him, and he can speak for himself in a moment if the matter is still live, that there is nothing in writing that anybody would have given that impression in the background to this application. I want to add that there is, as the report makes clear, there's no formal representation from environmental health, which I'm bound to say I would have expected, even to the extent of saying we have concerns, but these are the conditions which have been agreed to. There's nothing to that effect. So I have to say I'm puzzled, but I need to make my client's position clear. That said, there are conditions which are suggested in, or suggestedly agreed. I think there's 5 bullet points at the foot of the relevant page of the report, 3.3, some of which
Vaughan, I'm sorry to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
I really do apologise. Mrs. Williams, have you seen all these papers?
No.
You have seen nothing at all?
All I was sent by email was an invitation to this Zoom meeting.
James, can I have your comments on that, please?
I'm not sure what you mean comments on. Ms. Williams, when did you receive the invitation to the meeting? Hello?
Invitations were sent out around about the 21st of April.
Right, well, I'm trying to find out if Miss Williams, if she could answer me, was she sent a link to the committee report as well?
Mrs. Williams, have you
Is
had
the microphone off?
Sorry, you seem to be cutting in and out, so I've only caught half of what Mr. James has said.
Right, were you sent a copy of the report?
Not to me. What, via email or?
Yes.
Well, I haven't received such papers.
Martin, any comment on that, please?
Only the indication in the invitation that the reports were to be published and they could be seen online. But in retrospect, maybe I should have sent them my email. But normally we just in the invitations we state that they're being published online in due course. And there's
in due course. So obviously I didn't realise that. It's possibly my fault then I haven't seen them, but it wasn't really very clear for somebody who was just
Okay, no, I think all that needs to happen is, could somebody please direct Miss Williams to the online copy of the report, because that's all we're talking about here, is just being able to see the report that people are referring to.
Yeah, well, James, that's why I wanted to ask you, does it seem totally fair and correct that Mr. Vaughan, quite rightly, is going through all this, and the lady who is making an objection on behalf of many residents knows nothing about it?
Well, all we're talking about is the report, just what it says in the report. So as long as she can see a copy of the report now, then I don't see what the problem is.
No, Mrs. Williams, can you do that or not?
No, I can't. As I'm zooming on this, I cannot watch the report. I'm happy to listen to what you're saying about the report, because I accept I never looked at it, or it wasn't there for me. So I'm happy at this point to just listen and hear about the report.
Fine. I wanted to make sure, you see, that everybody is being treated fairly. That's my objective, is to make sure that everybody knows what is happening and is being treated fairly. So you are happy with us to go ahead? And
yes, I don't want to interrupt this Zoom meeting. It's too important. So I'm prepared to go ahead without that information.
Right. Mr. Vaughan, you hear that?
Yes, I did, ma'am. I'm anxious, obviously, that the matter proceeds in a fair fashion as well. We don't know the personal details of the objectors for obvious reasons. So it wasn't possible for us to serve them direct with extraneous material to the report. For example, Mr. Randall's reports. So I'm anxious that there's no confusion over which report we're talking about. I think you're talking about the licensing officer's report, whereas there are other reports in evidence, which we will put or have put. And if the objector hasn't seen that, what we could do, and I'm offering this now, if it's a solution, we could email that directly to her now. I'm not sure whether that assists her, but we are in a position to do that if her email address can be produced.
Yeah, Mr. Vaughan, are you talking about the reports from Mr. Randall now?
I am.
Right, let me just talk. Mrs. Williams, have you seen any of the reports from Mr. Randall, the noise abatement man? Have you seen any of those?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any reports.
Right, you are able presumably to get, if Mr. Vaughan sends them to you via email, you are able to link onto them and have a look at them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right, can you hold on a minute? Martin, can I have you back for a moment, please?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm just trying to find Mrs. Williams' email, because I've just been trying to send her the link to the papers by email, and I'm just trying for all the things we've got on our EDOMS system to try and find her email address again.
Yes,
so
I'm really pleased, Vaughan, that you understand why I've raised this point.
You know, I do. Yeah, I completely understand, Chair.
And Mr. Vaughan, you understand as well.
Absolutely.
I realise that this needs to go ahead and we need to get it sorted out as quickly as possible. But equally, I do think we have to be fair to Mrs. Williams and any objectors. They really need to know everything so that it can be a totally fair meeting. You accept that?
If I may say so, ma'am, we're keen that she sees the noise reports.
Fine.
So absolutely, we do accept what you're saying.
Maisie, you were jumping in.
I've put a link to the papers in the chat so everyone can see. So if you click on the link in the chat on the Zoom screen, it will take you straight to where the papers are.
Well, we've got everything, but Mr. Williams, Mrs. Williams, are you able to do that or not? Or would you rather it came through?
Could it come through, please?
Right, Mr. Vaughan,
please, I can manage that.
I'm just wondering, James, would it not be a good idea if we had a short break until this is done? Because we need Mrs. Williams to have a look at these papers, the report from Mr. Randall, and have a look through it.
Well, yes, that's correct. Otherwise, she's not actually read. Just because she's received a copy of them, it hasn't given her time to actually peruse them. So,
Absolutely.
yes, a short break would seem
Mr. Vaughan,
sensible.
how quickly can you send that through? You haven't got her email address yet, but Martin will
We
give
haven't. We could send it through immediately. Could I suggest also that she has this morning's photographs as well, because that will then complete the package.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. What should we say? 10 minutes? Is that going to be sufficient, or 15? 15 minutes? Give Mrs. Williams time to read them.
11:30.
What time is it now? Yeah.
11:11. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start. Mrs. Williams, do you understand? We're going to break now, so that you can look at these papers, because I do think it's very important you do. And we'll convene again at 11:30.
The email address, could I understand whether Martin is sending them or we're sending them? We're very happy to do that, but we need the email address.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mrs. Williams, yes?
Yes, it's Williams.
Please remember this is being recorded.
But Mrs. Williams, just stop, please. This is being recorded. So, Martin, are you going to liaise with Mr. Vaughan while we're off screen? Martin's gone already. Mr. Vaughan, I'm going to leave you. I think, Maisie...
We'll call it. We'll sort it now.
Yeah, I think, Maisie, we need to take everybody out